From MLU headquarters in Philadelphia, this is Cleats and Cufflinks.
Okay,
just to be sure.
So we're going to move on because we don't have that much time, unfortunately. Well, we have some time, but we have a really good interview that we need to get to. So we're going to run for this. Okay. What does the MLU... That timer's wrong, Nick. Nick's going to time.
I'm looking over the timer.
Okay. Oh, look at that. That's bad. What does the MLU do for its players?
Yes.
A lot of questions. People asked us about, on the AMA, what are we doing to keep our players? What are we doing to keep them away from the AUDL or incentivize them away from that? Some things like that. And we thought it was, we said, you know what? We should really take the effort to put it down, all that we do for players and how we value it, and go through that. So you're actually making a document about this. It's going to be really neat.
Yeah, I think that we've just never, we obviously have all this stuff that we are constantly putting in place, but we've never put it down in one place where it's, you want to play for the MLU, here's what you get. And I think that's an important thing to say, and I'm really glad we're doing this finally.
Yeah. So we're going to put all this together, and let's go through it. We have a list that we've made. 13 things, I think.
Yeah, and this is, I might add more later. There might be more things.
Could be.
Could be.
And let's also start with, there's so many things that we don't do yet because we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
There is, it doesn't take a lot of hard math to figure out that there's a long way for us to go. Mm-hmm. But what we want to do is set a good foundation of this is what you have and now let's grow from this. And I think everybody understands that in a lot of ways, that once there's more people in the stands, everybody gets more.
Yeah, I mean, we're making these choices based on what's best for the business as a whole, for everybody who's involved in it. Every player, every staff member, every investor, every sponsor.
Yep.
Those are the decisions that get made. And, in the end, like you said, we'll continue to add things as we can. We're not going to make any promises we can't keep, and but we're going to keep improving as we go.
But let's talk about where the players really make out.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Number one, gear.
Gear. Everybody loves gear.
Everybody loves gear. We have a new announcement that we're not going to talk about yet.
Yeah, no.
But we can talk about how it benefits the players with gear.
It's actually a combination of several announcements that lead to this full package of gear we're going to be providing players.
Yes. But we can tell the basics, what players make out for when they come to our league. They will get a jersey this year, right? Mm-hmm. They get the jersey top, the jersey bottom.
Yep.
They also get a base layer top and a base layer bottom.
They do.
So all players will be getting the compression shorts and the cool looking top.
And I like that because of the matching.
You like the brand.
I like the brand.
Okay. Every player will be getting a hat this year.
Yep.
That's from Disc-Store.
Courtesy of Disc-Store.
Courtesy of Disc-Store. Every player will be getting socks this year.
Nice socks.
And we're going to talk about that sponsor soon, but very nice smart wool socks, extremely high quality, different than the blister-proof socks.
Yeah,
but
new sock.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah,
I mean, very high level. So right there, you get outfitted from head to toe. You cannot wear the hat on the field.
No, hat is for the sidelines.
Hat's for the sideline. But you get outfitted.
I think we all know that by now.
Everything you need, all the way down to your cleats. Your cleats. You put those on your own feet. You get to buy your own cleats. But other than that, we outfit you with everything.
Yeah.
So now.
Oh, and warm-ups.
You didn't say when you're coming out the tunnel.
Yeah.
You look sharp because you're in really nice warm-ups, which are going to be new this year and going to look pretty sharp. Okay.
They're going to look nice.
They're going to look nice. Okay. So outfitted from head to toe, everything you need. There's also other gear that we have. At times we get headbands and wristbands, all sorts of stuff, the little stuff.
Yeah, the sponsors come through with things like Gamer Grip sending out tubes to the teams to use.
Exactly.
Things like that. And, with how the sponsorship team is rolling along now, I could certainly see more stuff getting added to this list. But
yeah, hopefully we get to give lots more gear. So that's one. That's one big thing we do. And this is for all of our teams. This is, these are standards that every team follows. Number two is practice fields. We give them a place to practice.
Yeah.
Give them a place to become a better team. Now, this is something we've improved on year to year. I know that in Philly, the first years we practiced at a free field called Edgeley Ball Fields. It is like a minefield for twisted ankles. And this year, give a shout out to Jackie Friedman, who got them incredible space and an incredible partnership for their entire season.
Yeah,
And
it's a great deal and a really great space to practice.
Yeah. So, and this is kind of becoming the norm. Teams are getting better and better at this for practice fields, but those are things that we have budget for to pay for practice fields, so everybody can be at their top level.
Yeah, and again, it's a consistent budget across all the teams, and that's the one thing we want to put in here. All of these items we're going through are consistent throughout the league. Each team does the same things, and now it'll vary a little bit what kind of space they get for practices, that sort of stuff, but everybody has the same list of requirements for
Absolutely.
their players.
Number 3, food stipends. So when you travel, or when you come to practice, when you travel to games, you get a stipend so that you get something to eat.
Yeah, we really want to take the burden of traveling to a game as completely off the player as we can. So it's not just that we give you a ride, which we'll get to, but it's also that we provide meals when you're there. And teams do this differently. Some teams, it's everybody sits down and has a meal together. Other teams, they get a stipend to go use as they please, depending on the amount of time they have and the back and forth. But I think it's a great part for a player, remembering traveling when I was a young college player.
Yep. So they, food, and that has to do with the game too. Even game time, they have food and drinks.
They had Gatorade and snacks and things like that in the locker room. Yeah.
Yep. And talking about the games, they get trainers.
Yeah.
So certified trainers at every game, so that in case there's an injury, in case they need wraps, anything they need, anything with warm-ups, they have someone there to make sure that all that can be taken care of. And that's something we've tried to do as best we could from the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, we didn't have a good list of trainers, but now we do. So now we're much more comfortable making sure someone's at every game.
We have great trainers.
Really do.
I'm always impressed by them. Very
Really do.
knowledgeable.
Frisbee, there's just great people. There's great people who have great
It's so
businesses,
true.
and they're in it. Showers at every game, right? We make sure that you have proper locker room facilities and everything in every place you've had. We've moved on from facilities that didn't have them, even this year. The San Francisco facility was not adequate for our players, and we actually, from a league standpoint, didn't know it didn't have showers till midway through the season, which is we would have said
Unacceptable.
move on. Yeah, unacceptable. Not fair to our players. So we find places that have showers, locker rooms, proper places for everyone to get suited up for a game just the way a pro would. And I will say that Portland has it best from anybody. For everybody right now, because I've been to their locker room and it's unbelievable. So
I'm so excited.
I'm jealous of them.
Excited about that stadium.
And there's a lot of amenities like that, just about the way the stadiums are set up or how they're treated, how they get in, all that stuff. So we really focus on all those things. Another one, trained referees. So this is a big part. If they're going to come here and compete and do all those things, we need to put trained referees in front of them. Now, there have never really been referees in Ultimate Frisbee until 2012, not even.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a big piece that we're constantly working on, because we fly Ian and James Kalinsky, and now this year Jamie Rhodes out to train, and we try to do it as much as we can. So there's a long way to go, but we have a focus and a budget for training them and making them as best they can.
Yeah. I mean, the training is key. It's also Ian and Jamie and James working on the ground, reviewing tape, sending out emails that explain any questions about rules, making sure that everybody's up to speed and on the same page. And it's a big job. I think people don't understand how big a job it is, but it's a big job, and they do a great job at it.
And it's about consistency, and it's gotten better every single year. And are we there to where we want to be yet? No. But do we have a fantastic group of referees? Yes.
Absolutely.
And are they getting better by the moment? Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about that. And that was echoed in our player survey, that people thought that their professionalism and how they carried themselves was extremely good, but that obviously they needed a lot more time.
Yeah, it's just repetition.
Yep.
And the more games we give them, the better they're going to get. And, and that's, again, we treat the referees like we treat our players. We outfit them, we train them, we provide them a place to get changed and dressed and all the other things, because their job is important as well on the field.
Yep. Nike camps and clinics, another one.
That's exciting.
So what's nice about this is it's a way for players to have additional revenue sources and interact with their fans, right? Interact with the kids who love them. Oh, my messenger's going off. You should yell at me for that.
Yeah, You would.
Someone's G-chatting.
We'll do some yelling later about that.
So these Nike camps are going to be a week long, and the players who engage in that will get paid for each day, and the organizers. It's really neat. And the more we run, the more opportunity that's there. I mean, if you take Brody Smith, he made a living off of uncovering, things that people wanted to watch or things that people wanted to do, and replicating it over and over. It's been all over the world training. And there's a lot of people who have not had a clinic yet. And there's a lot of people who would get another clinic, right? There's not like one clinic and done. So there's so much opportunity, right, that it's pretty exciting to see. So we have lots of camps and clinics out there for players to participate in and get more revenue from.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, some teams will be doing a mix of clinics. Some of them will be kind of paid clinics. Some of them will be outreach clinics to people that may not be able to afford to pay much for them. But either way, it definitely provides a chance, to start putting that package together that brings up the, player income, more and more professional as we go forward.
Absolutely. All right, next one. Travel. Now, this is a big one because you talk about our travel budget is enormous. Of our budget, it's 20%. I have that right? 20, 15%, something like that of our budget is travel. You start off and you say, okay, what are we going to do?
Yeah, we're starting the league, putting these teams together. How are we going to get these guys?
Can we ask the players to drive themselves to locations? Right? So that's the first thing. The answer is no. So there's a couple kind of simple standards if we're looking at just the basics of what bus companies will do, right? What travel companies will do. You can drive 10 hours total in a day or 8 hours at once. So at once means with small breaks in between of just 15 minutes to half an hour. So for instance, if driving from Philly to Rhode Island took 5 hours, I could drive up to Philly or up to Rhode Island, which took me 5 hours.
Why are we going to Rhode Island?
I don't know. I just picked it. We're going up to Rhode Island. That takes 5 hours. We can take a break, and then we can come back because it's a 5-hour drive back, totaling 10 in one day. If we were to go to Boston, where it took 6 hours, by the rules, you'd have to get 8 hours of sleep in between. And these rules kind of always get tweaked, but that's the basics.
These are the bus company rules, to be clear. You're talking about the bus company rules.
I really do think there are just like the FAA.
This is a recommendation also for normal folks?
I think it's a Department of Transportation. We'll figure this out. We'll have one of our guys do.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit of research on this.
But I know there's strict standards on who can drive with people in a bus. I mean, you have lives. It's no different than a pilot. A pilot needs a certain amount of sleep before they can fly. A driver needs a certain amount of sleep before they can drive.
But we're going back to this idea of, originally, can we ask our players to drive to games? And the answer, for us clearly was no.
It was no.
These are not professional drivers. Unlike the bus drivers. So even with the same standards in place, we couldn't ask them to do that.
But they're also, it's not, you can't have someone who's going to go, let's just say it all fell in line. You can't say, hey, go drive up, play an exhausting game, and then drive back. It's just not safe. It's not the right way to go about safety. So we said we have to do buses in line with all standards of, whether it's the Department of Transportation or whatever the standard is. Like, we have to be in line with that.
Yeah, and that's from both just a safety perspective. Just imagine if something happens and you didn't do everything you could to protect your players. And then also, of course, as a business from a liability standpoint. You can't add that level of risk to your business.
And that's why San Francisco flies to all their games. Right?
Exactly. And then we have flights from San Francisco. And the buses, because of our U.S. Coachways deal, each year I think our buses and our transportation schedules have improved, and U.S. Coachways provided some of our best transportation, if not all of our best transportation last year, and this year they're our travel partner. So the level of those bus rides consistently improving, and this year should be really great. And then of course, like you said, booking all the plane tickets. And I was talking to Morgan Hibbard, and they went down to fly down to San Francisco, and his plane ticket showed up, and he's just like, it just felt like such a professional moment. Like, this is my plane ticket to go play. So,
and I hope they all recognize that all this is done because we have a standard. You try your best to make a standard that you can hit, and this is one of the ones where we just knew it's obvious when you say it out loud. It's the right thing to do. we can't have them travel on their own. We can't have them in rentals or anything like that. We gotta get them to where they need to go and get them back.
And again, we do this centrally because we know that these decisions are hard to make on the ground. You know, it's tough to get the bus schedule right so that everybody can make it to the bus. So the temptation is to be, well, why don't we get some vans and we'll split up and drive up? But it's not safe, it's not consistent, and it's not the best experience for the players, and in the end, not the best experience for the fans as a result.
Correct.
So every team does the same thing.
You got it. And I know all of our guys appreciate that, and I appreciate that they appreciate it. Big one, insurance.
Yeah.
So when I first started in this whole thing, this is one of the things that terrified me. I probably shouldn't get into details or whatever, but let's just say the policy that was around just didn't make any sense. So I actually went and got my own policy because there was just no way a policy of that small of a dollar figure would actually cover anybody if they got injured. So we have a hefty insurance bill, right? We have accident insurance for our players. Is it full medical coverage and perfect? No. But is it, if you get injured, you're taken care of? Yes. Have we shelled out money for injuries? Yes.
Yes, we have.
And it's because it's our people, right? Everybody. You know, it's about the best we can do for them.
Got to take care of your people.
And so, you know, I think about, you know, Jeff Graham when he had that horrific injury. Now, he had, you know, coverage for that, but if he didn't, he would have been fully protected, and we knew it. And it just allows you to sleep better at night. So our insurance policy is in line with what it needs to be for this league and all of the people and all the players. And if you're playing in anything, I mean, if you're playing in any tournament or doing anything on any sport, you should want to know, you know. Should be something to question, like, hey, what is the policy? It's something you can ask when participating in a sport.
Because we all have that nightmare story, don't we? I mean, I have a good friend of mine slipped on some ice, broke his ankle, was uninsured, and is now $100,000 in debt because he broke a bunch of bones somehow. A really weird situation. And we all have those stories, and you know, God forbid that kind of thing happens on the ultimate field. We need to be taking care of the people who play this game.
Yeah. And I have two here. They're all kind of combined for this for the next one. I'll say one. We have competitive games. Like, this league has competitive games. There's obviously there's a team that is in first and there's a team that's in last. But even Portland in their first year when they went 1-9, their one win was against the best team.
Yeah.
It's like anybody could win on any given Sunday, but how it rolls out is something different. And we've prided ourselves in how we've made our rules and our production and how we packaged it together so that it all works out that way, that we don't have crazy blowouts or teams that can't win a game or any of those things. It's a really good, consistent thing, and I think everybody gets that.
Yeah, and again, I think it speaks to the similarity of provisions above too. Everybody has practice fields. Everybody has the same access to travel. You know, no one's showing up at games without any team cohesion or exhausted from driving themselves across several states. Like, I think that stuff plays into this similar level, you know, this competitive level that we have.
Right.
And, you know, and good coaching staff that's compensated, good tape for them to review, all that stuff that gets included.
Now, here's one that I can guarantee there's a whole bunch of players in every sport that don't like this, but they do like it, right? They don't like it just because that's the type of personality that some people have, but in the end they do, which is the consistent brand, right?
Yeah.
The fact that look at the pictures out there. The players look amazing. The refs look amazing. Everybody looks in line with the brand as much as possible. I mean, sure, we're a new league, so we have slip-ups, but they're rare. The fact that we don't allow hats. Some players hate that stuff. But I tell you, I was talking with a player just the other day who said, it's so funny how big that is because it fits in with the brand. You guys made a brand that is just, I'll be confident saying it compares to the top leagues. Like, we feel and look like a top league when people see us, which is, you know, if you want the proof, look at our sponsors page.
Yeah.
The sponsors page just blew up because the brand we have and how everyone looks and fits into it. And that consistent brand may not be direct money into any player's pocket right now, but it is in some way a strong foundation of what the future holds, right? Because it shows the potential.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the sponsor thing is a perfect thing to bring up. one of the key concerns that any sponsor is going to have, obviously they're going to want to know what your reach is, what kind of eyeballs that you're going to get, how you're going to activate them. But one of the most important ones that especially larger sponsors are worried about is, how is my brand going to be represented? And, the most direct way to look at that is to look at jersey sponsorships. If I'm going to put my name on a jersey, how do I know that that name and that positioning is going to be consistently represented in every single game that these guys play? And they're going to look professional every time they walk out on the field. And if you can show that kind of control of your brand, then you get returns on that. And right now, we have 6 out of 8 teams have a jersey sponsor, and I'm sure the other 2 will by the time the season comes around. Mm-hmm. And that, even the first year, that it just couldn't happen because there was no proof of brand control at that point. And even the second year was challenging because we had learned so much in the first year. But really, I think that what we put on the field is good. And now, how does that benefit players? It benefits players because now there are opportunities already starting to pop up, and they're going to continue coming up with these sponsors for players to get involved as ambassadors for those brands,
right? Because
of the way they're tied into ours.
Yeah, just take Nike Camps. Nike Camps partnered with us because of our brand, and opened up a whole bunch of opportunity, and that's just the beginning. All of a sudden, you have Old Spice or something comes in, but they want some players to represent them, and then players get to be a part of it, and that's all because of all the work everyone's done around the brand. And by the way, we don't have Old Spice, but can we please get Old Spice?
Let's get Old Spice.
Okay.
Jonathan McQueen?
Yes.
Get Old Spice.
Last one, because we need to wrap up, is that we have the Player Advisory Committee.
This is great.
Yeah. Which means that all the things we mentioned above, the players get to have an advisory role in, and say they get to know about, speak as a voice about what they think in an advisory role, and that means that everyone's informed and talking, and that's what's great.
It's a committee where they can review what's happening in the league, they hear about what's happening, they can disseminate that information as they like, and they can just basically provide their own viewpoint and input. And I think it's a really, really important thing, and a really important amenity to the players.
So tell us what you think. At Cleats Cufflinks, at Jeff Snyder, at Nick Dalling. Tell us what you think about all the things we're doing for players. What questions you have, what question you have in comparison to other leagues in their startup years, or anything you want to know, you can ask us. You know how it is.
Yeah, we answer.
But we're short on time, so we're going to move on.